No more games today. He does smell like alcohol.
From Jay Cutler's arrest for driving under the influence to Henry Ruggs' reckless driving that resulted in the death of a woman and her dog, these are the most shocking, disturbing, and jaw-dropping arrest footages of NFL players that have been captured by the police. Let's dive right in. Number 10, Jay Cutler. Let's begin our countdown with a name that might surprise many of you. Jay Cutler, the former Chicago Bears quarterback who had successfully transitioned into a polished television personality, seemingly leaving his playing days behind with dignity intact. But in 2024, everything changed when Cutler found himself on the wrong side of the law in Franklin, Tennessee, and the body cam footage that was finally released in October 2025 painted a picture that stood in stark, almost shocking contrast to the composed, articulate media figure the public had come to know. The incident began with what should have been a straightforward traffic accident. Cutler rear-ended another vehicle while operating his car in an impaired state. When police arrived at the scene, they encountered not the humble, apologetic individual one might expect from someone of Cutler's stature and experience, but rather a defiant, cocky personality that seemed almost oblivious to the severity of the situation he had created. The body cam footage captures Cutler admitting that he had consumed alcoholic beverages before getting behind the wheel, yet in a move that demonstrated either remarkable arrogance or profound poor judgment, he flatly refused to submit to field sobriety tests that could have definitively established his level of impairment.
Are you willing to do some field sobriety tests for me to make sure you're okay to drive?
No.
Put your hands on your back. Tammy, 10-15.
Hold on. Yep. I'm gonna take stuff out of your hands.
You're under arrest for driving under the influence.
No.
Hold on one second, I'm gonna pat you down. Do you have anything in your pockets gonna hurt me, poke me, or stick me?
No, sir.
The situation became even more complicated when officers discovered that Cutler was also facing a weapons charge in addition to the DUI allegations, adding another layer of legal jeopardy to an already serious situation. The footage, which law enforcement held for over a year before its public release, has reignited conversations about celebrity privilege, accountability, and the disconnect between public personas and private behaviors. For someone who had seemingly escaped the controversies that plagued so many of his contemporaries during their playing days, this arrest represented a stunning fall from grace, captured in excruciating detail by technology that leaves no room for alternative narratives or public relations spin. The case remains active as of this recording, with Cutler facing the very real possibility of serious legal consequences that could tarnish his legacy permanently. Number 9, Marshawn Lynch. Moving up our list, we encounter one of the most beloved and iconoclastic personalities in recent NFL history, Marshawn Lynch, the legendary beast mode running back whose powerful running style and media-averse personality made him a fan favorite during his years with the Seattle Seahawks. But in August 2022, the warrior who had bulldozed through countless defenders on the football field was found in a drastically different, profoundly vulnerable state on the Las Vegas Strip, and the body cam footage from that night reveals a side of Lynch that few fans had ever seen or imagined.
Do you know who you are? No, you don't know who you are. Okay. Did you steal the car? Yes. We said you don't know whose car it is. Just asking.
Police discovered Lynch passed out behind the wheel of his vehicle, which was not only damaged, but also unregistered, a detail that added administrative violations to what was already becoming a serious criminal matter. When officers approached the vehicle and eventually roused Lynch from his unconscious state, they were immediately hit with the unmistakable, overwhelming smell of alcohol permeating the vehicle's interior, a sensory indication that painted a clear picture of what had transpired before Lynch had mercifully fallen asleep rather than continuing to navigate Las Vegas's busy streets in his compromised condition.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car. No, he kind of gave us a name, but I can't find him.
The subsequent field sobriety tests, all captured in uncomfortable detail on the officers' body cams, were an absolute disaster from start to finish. Lynch's blood alcohol content measured at 0.18, more than twice the legal limit in Nevada, and a level of intoxication that significantly impairs judgment, motor skills, and reaction time. He was later forcibly removed from his vehicle and arrested.
Roll to get on your stomach. Roll over. Hands behind your back. No more games today.
What kind of games?
He does smell like alcohol.
What makes this footage particularly poignant and difficult to watch for longtime fans is the vulnerability on display. The man known as Beast Mode, who had terrorized NFL defenses with his aggressive, punishing running style, and who had become famous for his gruff, no-nonsense approach to media interactions, was reduced to a confused, stumbling figure, barely able to maintain his balance, let alone articulate coherent responses to officers' questions. The imagery represents a dramatic fall from the pedestal upon which fans had placed this warrior-like figure, humanizing Lynch in a way that his legendary stiff arm runs and touchdown celebrations never could. The legal proceedings following this arrest have been anything but swift, with Lynch's DUI trial being delayed multiple times and now not scheduled to proceed until 2025, more than 3 years after the initial incident. This extended timeline has kept the case in legal limbo, allowing the shocking body cam footage to remain relevant and continue circulating online, serving as an ongoing reminder of that fateful night when one of football's most distinctive personalities was found in one of his darkest, most compromised moments. Number 8. Pacman Jones. As we continue climbing up our disturbing countdown, we arrive at a name that, unfortunately, has become almost synonymous with legal troubles and off-field controversies throughout his career. Pacman Jones, the former Cincinnati Bengals cornerback whose on-field talent was perpetually overshadowed by his seemingly endless parade of arrests and legal entanglements. While Jones has accumulated an astonishing 11 arrests over the course of his life, the 2017 casino assault incident stands out as particularly shocking, providing body cam footage that showcased behavior so violent, so completely out of control, and so divorced from acceptable conduct that it reinforced every negative perception that had followed him throughout his troubled career. The incident occurred at a Cincinnati casino, where what may have started as a verbal disagreement or minor altercation quickly escalated into physical violence that would land Jones in handcuffs once again. When law enforcement arrived on the scene to investigate reports of an assault, they encountered Jones in an extremely agitated state, and what the body cam footage captures from this point forward is genuinely disturbing. A professional athlete who should have had the maturity and self-control to walk away from confrontation, instead choosing to engage in behavior that was both criminal and completely reckless, given his already extensive history with the justice system.
Hold on, what am I being charged with?
Assault.
Assault, too. Two.
This gentleman right here.
The body cam footage shows officers attempting to question Jones about the assault allegations, but rather than cooperating with the investigation, providing his account of what transpired, or showing any recognition of the seriousness of the situation, Jones became increasingly belligerent and confrontational with the officers themselves. His demeanor throughout the footage is one of supreme entitlement and barely contained rage, as if his status as an NFL player somehow exempted him from having to answer for his actions or treat law enforcement with even basic respect. The contrast between what should have been a professional athlete's conduct and what the footage actually reveals is jarring and deeply disappointing for anyone who had hoped Jones might have learned from his previous legal troubles. Instead of taking responsibility, instead of showing concern for the person he allegedly assaulted, instead of recognizing that his behavior had once again crossed legal and ethical lines, Jones seemed primarily focused on deflecting blame and expressing outrage that he was being held accountable for his actions. The 2017 casino assault arrest represented yet another entry in what had become an almost unbelievably long list of legal problems for Jones, whose career had been defined as much by off-field controversies as by his considerable talents as a cornerback and return specialist. This wasn't a young player making mistakes early in his career when sudden fame and fortune might have overwhelmed his judgment. This was a veteran who had been in the league for over a decade, someone who had received multiple chances from teams willing to overlook his past in exchange for his on-field contributions, and someone who had repeatedly promised that his days of legal trouble were behind him. Number 7. Malik McDowell. Continuing our journey through increasingly disturbing arrest footage, we encounter Malik McDowell, the former Seattle Seahawks defensive tackle, whose February 18, 2019 arrest at a Michigan gas station produced some of the most violent body cam footage on our entire list, a career-ending confrontation that showcased what happens when a 6'6", 300-pound professional athlete fights police while severely intoxicated. The incident began when an officer pulled over McDowell's Jeep Grand Cherokee at 5:25 a.m. at a Marathon gas station in Lathrop, Village, Michigan, after witnessing the vehicle speeding at 60 mph on snow-covered roads before spinning out completely, doing a 180-degree turn that left him facing the wrong direction. When the officer asked for his license, McDowell, who smelled strongly of alcohol and had slurred speech, refused and began shouting, "I need a supervisor," repeatedly, a phrase he would scream more than 50 times during the encounter. When told he'd be arrested if he didn't comply, McDowell got up and walked into the gas station convenience store, triggering a violent struggle.
Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Give me a supervisor. You're gonna get tased. You're gonna get tased. You're gonna get tased. Get down. Get down!
The officer grabbed him, and surveillance footage shows the two scuffling through store aisles, knocking over merchandise. After McDowell shoved the officer, the cop drew his taser and ordered him to lie on his stomach. McDowell refused, sitting against the door instead while continuing to demand a supervisor. What happened next shocked everyone. The officer deployed his taser, but the probes had no effect on McDowell's thick Carhartt jacket. In a stunning display captured on video, McDowell ripped out the taser probes, stood up, and approached the officer aggressively. Even when the officer tried using the taser's contact stun function directly on his body, it proved ineffective against the massive defensive lineman. The footage shows McDowell grabbing the officer's wrists and the taser itself, wrestling with him in front of the register. Most alarmingly, during the struggle, McDowell placed his hand on the officer's holstered gun, forcing the officer to pull his hand away, a terrifying moment that could have ended in tragedy. McDowell yelled, "Don't shoot me," as they continued fighting on the floor until backup arrived and multiple officers finally subdued him. Blood tests revealed McDowell's BAC was 0.189, more than twice the legal limit. He was charged with assault and resisting arrest, obstructing justice, operating while intoxicated, and driving with a suspended license. The NFL suspended him for 2 games, though as a free agent, it would only matter if he signed with a team. He eventually pleaded guilty and received 153 days in jail, a favorable deal considering he faced years behind bars. McDowell, a 2017 second-round pick who never played a snap for Seattle after an ATV accident, watched his NFL dreams die in that gas station, immortalized in footage showing wasted talent and self-destructive choices. Number 6, Terrell Suggs. Moving into our top 6, we encounter Terrell Suggs, the legendary Baltimore Ravens linebacker, whose Hall of Fame caliber career took a shocking turn in March 2024 when he was arrested following a dispute at a Scottsdale, Arizona Starbucks. The incident occurred on March 10th, 2024, at a drive-thru when Suggs, attempting to reposition his Range Rover to reach the intercom, allegedly made contact with another driver's vehicle. Video footage shows both men got out of their vehicles and argued about whether contact had occurred, then returned to their cars to place orders. But as Suggs was leaving, he re-escalated the situation by yelling profanities at the other driver. When the man responded with his own expletives, Suggs stopped his vehicle and stuck a handgun out of his driver's side window. While police reports indicate the gun was never pointed directly at the victim, the man took Suggs' action as a clear threat and wrote down his license plate. The entire incident was captured on the victim's dash camera, leading to Suggs' arrest on April 9th, 2024.
It's good right here, man. Let's go ahead. There you go. Cool. Thank
You
you.
want to do 2? Give him a little bit more room.
Yeah,
He's really
that'll
cool with us.
I appreciate that.
We got a short ride down to the station, and
That
then
ain't that short. The short one's right around the corner. That's just like a
All right.
station house.
we got like a 15-minute ride then.
He was charged with threatening and intimidating and disorderly conduct with a weapon. In released 911 calls, the victim can be heard telling the operator, "Nobody's hurt, but he pulled a gun on me." In February 2025, Suggs pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct, with the threatening charge dropped as part of a plea deal. He was sentenced to 18 months of supervised probation, with possibilities for early release after 9 months if he completes 100 hours of community service, anger management courses, and abstains from alcohol. For a near certain Hall of Famer, the incident represented a stunning lapse in judgment over something as trivial as a coffee shop parking dispute. Number 5, Robert Quinn. At number 5, we have Robert Quinn, the former Chicago Bears and Dallas Cowboys defensive end, whose January 10th, 2025 arrest in North Charleston, South Carolina, provided some of the most visually disturbing body cam footage on our list. The incident began around 2 a.m. when Quinn's maroon Ford F-150 crashed into multiple vehicles at a car dealership, creating a domino effect that damaged 4 cars total. City surveillance cameras captured Quinn's truck veering left across an intersection and median before crashing onto the dealership property. Rather than staying at the scene, Quinn attempted to flee by calling an acquaintance to pick him up. When firefighters arrived first and alerted police that the suspect was trying to leave in a white Dodge Challenger, officers intercepted the vehicle with Quinn in the passenger seat. The body cam footage released in September 2025 shows Quinn with visible head and hand injuries, blood streaming down his face. When officers ordered him out of the Challenger, Quinn refused to exit and had to be physically removed. Police reported he exhibited slurred speech and refused to identify himself. Officers had to use an armbar maneuver to get the 34-year-old to the ground so they could place him in handcuffs. The footage captures Quinn's disoriented and combative behavior throughout the arrest process. He was charged with leaving the scene of property damage and reckless driving. Notably, this was a hit-and-run arrest in 18 months, having been charged with similar offenses in August 2023. His trial is tentatively scheduled for December 2025. Number 4, Desmond Maro. At number 4, we encounter a case that stands apart from the others because the shocking nature stems not from the NFL player's actions, but from what was done to him. In December 2017, Desmond Maro, a former NFL defensive back, was choked unconscious by Henry County, Georgia police officer David Rose during a traffic stop in a Target parking lot in McDonough. Officer Rose responded to reports that Maro and another driver were driving aggressively through the parking lot. The cell phone video that went viral in April 2018 shows Maro being slammed to the ground before being pinned with Rose's hand on his throat.
I'm not even doing nothing. I'm not even fighting back. I'm not even fighting back. I'm not even fighting back. I'm not even doing nothing, man. What's going on, man?
A bystander can be heard saying, "This is unbelievable." Maro can be heard saying, "I can't breathe," multiple times before going limp. What made this case even more disturbing was the attempted cover-up. Documents revealed that Henry County police had seen the video days after the arrest and were aware of dashcam footage where Rose admitted, "I'm not going to write it down, but hell yeah, I choked that." Yet an initial investigation completed 5 days later cleared the officers of wrongdoing. Rose was eventually fired in May 2018 after the video went viral, indicted in 2019, and pleaded guilty to simple battery in 2020, surrendering his law enforcement certification permanently. Maro reached a record settlement with Henry County in 2022 for what his attorneys called a landmark amount for a non-death case. The footage stands as a powerful example of police brutality and the importance of video evidence in holding officers accountable. Number 3, Tyreek Hill. Breaking into our top 3, we arrive at one of the most recent and widely debated incidents, the September 8, 2024 traffic stop of Tyreek Hill, the Miami Dolphins superstar wide receiver. The incident occurred just hours before kickoff, as Hill was driving his McLaren sports car to Hard Rock Stadium for the season opener. Officers pulled Hill over for speeding, going 65 miles per hour in a 40 miles per hour zone, and not wearing a seatbelt. The body cam footage shows the officer knocking on Hill's window, and Hill responding, "Don't knock on my window like that," multiple times. When Hill rolled up his window after the initial interaction, the officer knocked again and ordered him to keep it down. What happened? Next shocked viewers nationwide. When Hill cracked the window but told the officer, "Don't tell me what to do," the officer immediately ordered him out of the car. Multiple officers then forcibly yanked Hill from his vehicle, pushed him face down onto the pavement, and handcuffed him, all within about 1 minute of the initial stop.
Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out. 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 What part of God don't you understand? Hey, Drew, I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting arrested. I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting out, bro. God damn.
Hill was detained for nearly 20 minutes before being released with 2 traffic citations. The Miami Dolphins released a statement calling the officer's conduct despicable and overly aggressive, while one officer was placed on administrative leave pending investigation. Hill's teammates Calais Campbell and Jonnu Smith attempted to intervene, with Campbell also being briefly handcuffed. The incident sparked intense national debates about police conduct, racial profiling, and use of force, with Hill asking afterward, "What if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? Lord knows what that guy or guys would have done." 2. Jaylen Carter. Now we arrive at our number 2 spot, where tragedy becomes undeniable. On January 15th, 2023, just hours after celebrating Georgia's 2nd consecutive national championship, defensive tackle Jaylen Carter was allegedly racing against a vehicle driven by recruiting analyst Chandler LaCroix, leading to a catastrophic crash that killed 2 people. Police investigation determined that Carter's Jeep Trackhawk and LaCroix's Ford Expedition were racing after leaving downtown Athens around 2:30 a.m. Evidence showed both vehicles switched between lanes, drove in center turn lanes and opposite lanes of travel, overtook other motorists, and drove at high speeds in an apparent attempt to outdistance each other. LaCroix's vehicle was traveling at approximately 104 mph before losing control, veering off the road and slamming into power poles and trees. The crash killed 20-year-old offensive lineman Devin Willock and 24-year-old Chandler LaCroix. Willock was ejected and died at the scene. LaCroix died at the hospital. A toxicology report revealed LaCroix's blood alcohol alcohol concentration was 197, nearly 2.5 times the legal limit. Carter initially left the scene before returning about an hour later to provide statements to police. On March 1st, 2023, arrest warrants were issued charging Carter with reckless driving and racing. He turned himself in that evening, was booked at 11:33 p.m., and released 16 minutes later on $4,000 bond. Despite the tragedy, Carter was selected by the Philadelphia Eagles in the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft, though he fell from projected top 5 status. The case serves as a devastating reminder that reckless driving and street racing aren't victimless thrills. They're deadly choices that destroyed families and ended promising young lives. Number 1, Henry Ruggs III. And now we've reached number 1, the most shocking, devastating, and tragic NFL arrest footage ever recorded. On November 2nd, 2021, at 3:39 a.m., Henry Ruggs III was driving his Chevrolet Corvette at 156 miles per hour with a blood alcohol level of 0.16, more than twice Nevada's legal limit, when he slammed into the back of a Toyota RAV4, driven by 23-year-old Tina Tintor.
49 right, we got to block this intersection. Anyone inside the vehicle?
I don't think I can hear it.
The impact propelled Tintor's vehicle 571 feet before it burst into flames. Body cam footage released in May 2023 shows officers arriving to find Tintor's car completely engulfed in an inferno. Firefighters arrived, but it was already too late. Officers can be heard saying the vehicle was absolutely obliterated and describing it as an inferno. When we got here, you could feel the heat from here. The most horrific aspect, Tintor and her dog Max died from thermal injuries, meaning they burned to death, trapped inside the vehicle. The crash didn't kill her, prosecutor Eric Bauman later said. She could have walked away from the impact and lived a completely normal life, but she burned to death and her dog burned to death and she suffered. Prior to the crash, Ruggs had been at Topgolf, where a receipt showed 20 drinks were ordered for his group between 9:28 p.m. and 11:22 p.m. He was released by the Raiders hours after the crash. In May 2023, Ruggs pleaded guilty to DUI resulting in death and vehicular manslaughter. On August 9, 2023, he was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison, eligible for parole after 3 years. Many felt the sentence was inadequate given the horrific manner of Tintor's death. This case stands as the ultimate cautionary tale about drunk driving, a promising NFL career destroyed, and more importantly, an innocent young woman burned alive because of one man's catastrophically reckless choices. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to watch another fascinating video like this, click on one of the boxes on your screen right now.